And we are live. And let's see.
Mike, you're muted.
Thank you. Commodore Geiger, Maurice Scott just called me. He has a family emergency, so he can't get a hold of his vice. So I asked him to either get a hold of Ann Chaffee or Ron Hecker.
Okay.
Ann is teaching ox lambs right
Yeah.
now. So
Ann
Right.
will- Ann will
Okay.
not be with us, so.
Good morning, Mr. Donahoe.
Good morning. I got a new mic. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, you actually sound pretty good.
we
Well,
could hear
good.
you without the mic from San Diego.
Everybody's always complaining they can't see me or hear me, and that should never be the case. So there you go.
I have some voiceovers I need to do, so I think I'll be in touch with you here shortly.
Yeah, my favorite. I don't know if it's my favorite, but a client once told me that I had the perfect voice to be a birthing coach.
I don't know if I take that as a compliment
Yeah, I
or
Yes, usually you have a face for radio, but birthing coach, holy cow.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing, but I guess it is. I don't know.
I see Commodore Blanchett has joined us.
Good morning, gentlemen. Hope
Watch.
everyone is
Morning.
watch you. Don't be cussing at us and calling us gentlemen. Good morning, sir. World to see.
good morning, Commodore Geiger. And how are you this morning?
Oh, Bert, how are you?
Pretty good. I've been texting with Sue this morning.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Super confidential. Apparently, Raj has not paid his internet bill.
Yeah, she's doing pretty good. I'm gonna pick her up after lunch.
Yeah, she's waiting for a margarita tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to know.
Nobody wants to think about.
Okay, well,
Why wait? It's always 5 o'clock someplace.
what about eight?
I'll drink to that.
Hi, Virgil and Patrick. Hey, thank you for the help the other day. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Two people watching. All right.
It's a nice background you have there, Chris.
The what?
That's a nice background you have.
I guess that's a new picture of the Milky Way that I found on most of these backgrounds I find on Facebook.
Right.
I copy them.
So are you going to join like the Space Force Auxiliary? I heard they're called the Space Cadets.
Space Cadets.
Hey, Chris, this is John Ross. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My video's not coming on for some reason. It
All
shows
right.
that it's on, but
Okay, very
All right. Log off and log back in.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, take care of your family. Bye.
Good morning, Commander.
Morning, Rudy.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Commander.
Good morning.
So Rudy, I see you're the new 007.
Oh. You see, Charlie brought his assistant to work today.
Yeah, he's one of my aides. As you can see, one of the more active ones.
Oh,
Oh, that's bad. Oh. All right, I'm out of here. Oh, man.
I want to know how you get the choker chain around his little arm and attached. Yeah, and where is yours at, Norm? Where's your rope at?
It's still in process of being obtained.
Good
I
morning,
have
everybody.
to get a loan. I have to get a loan at the bank. So
Yeah.
Good morning, Randy.
How's everybody?
Good. Good morning, Mary Jo.
Hi, Chris. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good morning, Mary Jo.
Hey, Charlie. How are you?
Great.
Good.
Glad you could join us.
I'm glad to be here.
Were you away?
Was I away? No, I was not. Not today.
Not today, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm back to working.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's my third job since COVID started.
Wow.
Yeah.
I start August 3rd.
Where and what will you be doing?
I've got a tour that starts August 3rd and we end up October 17th.
Excellent. So you're going to do the same thing you were doing before.
All I know how to do. I went to Walmart and they looked at me and go, yeah, right. Go away, buddy. Go away.
We
You can't
even-
work. You can't work here. I'm sorry.
Not even at the front door, huh?
No.
Chris, repeat after me. Would you like to biggie size that?
All right, Mr. Ross, did you get your camera thing? Did he go away?
I don't see him.
Yeah, I don't see him here.
He was on.
He
and then-
was on, yeah.
Good morning, everybody.
Who said that?
That was Willem.
Well,
Nice to see you. sir.
Hey, how you
Nice to
doing?
see you guys. All right.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
So we have 3 vice commanders standing in today. Willem Quay and Mark Forster.
Also, Charlie, Maurice did get a hold of Eddie, so he's going to be on in a minute.
Okay, good. And I think we're still waiting for Division 1 and 11. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what it looks like, Charlie.
Yeah, if they don't show up in a couple of minutes, Boz and Rod, give them a call.
Will do. In fact, already done.
Good morning, Mr. Freed.
Good morning, Commodore.
Where's my perch? Oh, did you forget him?
I ate them, I'm afraid.
Oh, that's even worse.
Good morning, Mr. Jacobsmeyer. You're muted.
What do we got? We got a couple minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and start the records so I don't forget to start them when I have to. Well, there's Patrick.
I needed time to get beautiful. How y'all doing this morning?
Good. Mr. Peterson's joining us.
Anything?
Oh, I saw something there, John Ross.
Yeah, John's here with no camera.
Apparently, my front camera doesn't work. I can get my back camera if you want to look at my files.
Well, that's what I saw, were your files.
Exactly. I don't know why. It's worked everything up to today.
Did you, when you logged off this last time, did you try restarting your computer?
No, I did not.
Okay, if you want to, fine. If not, that's probably, we'll fix it.
Michael, I know you're going to go ahead and start, so I'll give it a shot and see what happens.
All right, I'm recording it anyway, so anything you miss, you can go back and watch.
Commodore Rod Donahue just showed up.
I've been here. I'm still here.
Hey, Boz, do we have anybody here from 11?
You're muted, Boz.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I've got messages out to both the commander and the vice, and they're radio silent.
Okay. And the only other one I see missing is Chris Milano here.
He is in Ox Lambs and he's going to be back and forth. So.
All right, with that, I think we can go ahead and start the meeting. Rick, would you call the meeting to order?
Certainly. The district board meeting is called to order. And at this time, Patrick, if you could take the roll call, please.
Thank you, sir. District Commodore Geiger.
Present.
District Chief of Staff Ebel.
Present.
District Captain LA North Fiamingo.
Present.
District Captain LA South Bozarth.
Present.
District Captain San Diego and Inland Donahue.
Present.
Immediate Past Commodore Harshfield.
Present.
Directory of Auxiliary Commander Keenan.
Present.
Division Commander 1 Peterson. Or Vice Commander 1 Eastless. Division Commander 4 Pearson. Vice Commander 4 Foe.
Presence.
Division Commander 5 Brown.
Present.
Division Commander 6 Palmer.
Vice Lieutenant Commander Forrester standing in for him, over.
Vice Commander, thank you. Division Commander 7 Cortez.
Present.
Division Commander 9 Walker. Vice Division Commander 9 Lupati.
Present.
Division Commander 10 Smith.
Present.
Division Commander 11 Ziegler.
Here.
Division Commander 12 Scott. Vice Division Commander Borgwart.
Present.
That concludes the roll call.
Thank you, Patrick. Mr. Freed, do we have a quorum, sir?
Yes, we do. And we have a 2/3 membership also.
Thank you so much.
Alan Carver, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Gentlemen, hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Alan. Mark Forrester, can you give us the invocation, please?
Yes, I'll do my best. Father, as we come to you today, we ask for your knowledge and wisdom to deal with the situations and conditions that we are to deal with today. Let us examine them with patience and rely upon our knowledge and abilities to make the appropriate decisions to positively affect the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. It is with your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Rick, do you have any ground rules you want to share?
Certainly. Pretty simple ground rules today, gentlemen and ma'am. Cameras on, if you can do that. And please mute your microphones until you are asked to speak. And that is pretty much it. We are recording the meeting today, and it is also being live streamed. So any member of D11 South can watch us do our work. So after that, I think that's the ground rules, sir.
Thank you, Rick. I don't see any guests on Zoom, but I would like to welcome all the people that are watching us on YouTube. Thank you for participating. As far as pass downs, I've got a few. First of all, I think everybody knows at this point that we are not having a D train. We've said that enough times where I think we know that. And we have looked into the possibility of doing something about awards, but it doesn't look like that's going to work out either. We just don't have enough awards to give to make it worthwhile to set up some sort of formal event. So we'll have more on that later when Boz talks about the awards. I do have something I want to share about the election rules. So if Chris, if you can turn over your screen to me.
You have privileges. All you got to do is say share screen.
All right. I'm looking here.
Should be at the bottom where you turn your mic on and camera on and off to be a screen share.
Yeah, no, I do not see that. Oh, here it is. I got it. Share.
And then share whatever it is you want to show.
All right. Where do I share my desktop here?
It gives you options. So click on whatever it is you want to share. You see it?
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Everybody see that?
Nope, hang on. Give it a second. There we go. That's the election timeline overview.
Right, right.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, I want to talk a little about elections, and I'd like you to share this information with your flotillas as well. The rules for the elections are similar for district, division, and flotilla, but there are some differences that we need to be aware of. So everything starts with the election date for the district, and everyone knows what that is. That's going to be on the second Saturday in September, 9/11. So everything works from that 9/11. Once we've established that, we move over to the next column where we appoint screeners. Now, the standing rules require that we appoint 3 members of the district board less than 90 days before the election. And we have done that, and I'm trying to find the people that we have selected. I don't have that in front of me. Who have we selected for the board? Raise your hand or say something. Yeah, Rudy Cortez, Rick Ebel, and who else? All right, you know who you are. All right, in any case, we have selected 3. That's required 90 days before the election. I made that appointment this week, and I will send that information out. The next line, the next column over is letters of intent. That has to be sent to me not less than 60 days before the election, meaning that would be July the 11th. So 1 month from today, we are no longer accepting letters of intent. So if anyone plans on running for a district captain, they're the only three elections we will have. No election for the chief of staff or Commodore this year. So if anyone is interested in running for district captain, I need your letter of intent before July 11th. The standing rules also ask us to have the lead screener send me a report not less than 30 days before the election with a list of those people that have self-nominated, as well as anyone that has self-nominated and was deemed not eligible. That must be done by August 11th. The presiding officer will either be myself or someone I appoint, and most likely it would be me since I'm not running for office. And the certificate of the election is sent through me to the director. It's pretty straightforward at the district level. I would encourage everyone to read the district standing rules, be very familiar with all of the terms, especially if any of the elections are contested. Understand about tellers, but read the standing rules for all 3 levels. As division commanders, you are involved at all 3 levels in the elections. At the district level, you're on the board. At the division level, you're on the board as well. You're the division commander. And of course, everyone belongs to a flotilla. So read the standing rules for all 3 different levels. Also, regarding screeners, make sure your screeners at the division level are capable of verifying eligibility. We don't want people just saying, raise your hand if you want to be a screener. Then we find out later that the screener has no idea how to verify eligibility. I would suggest selecting at least, if you're going to have 3 screeners, select at least 1 IS officer, somebody that has access to Aux Data 2. All right, moving down to the division rules. The division election must occur after the district meeting, but before November the 20th. That's what's in the division standing rules. So I would like everyone to have their division meetings in September so that we can have flotilla elections in October, giving us the maximum amount of time to concentrate on staff appointments. So please schedule it. I think Monday night is going to be the first division election will be Division 7. That will be on Monday night. Now, as far as screeners, I don't know how many people noticed this, but for the division level, it's specified that the screeners be appointed during the June meeting. It's a little bit different than at the other levels. It actually says in the standing rules, June meeting. So at your division meeting this month, you need to nominate or you need to appoint your screeners and make sure that it is in the meeting minutes. It does not say how many, but typically we've always done 3 screeners. So pick 3 screeners and try to pick at least 1 IS officer. 2 would even be better. We need people that can actually verify the information without having to go to another party. Letters of intent for the division elections, they go to the division commander, to you, not less than 60 days before the election. So if your election for the division is in September, you want to have your letter of intent in by July. And again, the lead screener's got to send his report in at the division level. That goes to you, the division commander, not less than 45 days before the election. So all these These are very similar but different. The presiding officer for the division election will be the division commander, you, unless you are running. If you are running, you're not eligible to be the presiding officer, then it would fall to your immediate past. If your immediate past is not eligible, it would be somebody from the district board. I know some people think that the vice can do that, and that's not the case. It's either the division commander, the immediate past, or someone you can pick from the district board, and that can be your captain. So at the division level, if neither you or your immediate past is available, ask your district captain if he can preside. As far as the routing of the election certificate, it goes to the district captain within 5 days of the election. And of course, the results of the elections are not approved until DIROX approves it. And lastly, at the flotilla level, that election must happen after the division election, but before December 15th. Hopefully, all of the flotilla elections will happen in October. At least that's the goal. As far as screeners, it specifies 3 members be appointed not less than 90 days before the election. Letters of intent are due not less than 60 days before the election, and the lead screener report must go to the flotilla commander not less than 30 days before the election. The presiding officer will be the flotilla commander unless he's running, in which case it would be the immediate past flotilla commander. That's all that's specified in the standing rules. So if neither the flotilla commander or the immediate past, let me know and I will consult with legal and find out who we can actually preside over that. We just can't pick anybody at all. Even though it makes sense that it would be the division commander, it doesn't say that in the rules. Bill Freed, do you have any input on any of that?
No, sir. No, I think that's well done.
Okay. And the routing for the certificate of election at the flotilla level is also through the DCAP within 5 days. And once again, the election results are not final until approved by the director. That's all I have. If you go back to the gallery screen again, Chris. Do I need to do something? No. Yep, stop share maybe. There we go. All right, so as far as pass downs, I think that's all I have. I do have something about the PDCA, but we're going to cover that later in the meeting. So
I have one thing, Charlie, about elections. I just want everyone to know that as of right now, going back to electronic elections, I don't think is authorized. So I believe the elections have to be done in person. The approval we got last year from BSX, Captain Johnson, was only for last year. So we might want to get that word out because we've been doing so much hybrid. Right now, I don't believe it's approved. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up. And I do understand there could be some concerns. We don't know, but there may be members that don't want to go to meetings yet, even if they're allowed. So something could change between now and the elections. It'll be interesting to see what they do at NACON. I'm not sure if all of the district commodores will be attending NACON, and if not, can they participate electronically? The answer at this time is no, but if that's they'll be letting us know.
Yeah, and I would, if people hear some major concerns, let's route those up the chain of leadership. I have no problem passing that on to BSX to see if they're going to do anything, but I just wanted to get it out to everyone that we shouldn't assume that there will be electronic elections this year. And per our phase 3 guidance, we can do in-person meetings. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Commander. Since you've already got the floor, can you give us your pass downs?
Sure. Okay, everyone. Sorry, this one's going to be a little bit longer than I usually do because I'm the only one from DIROX on right now. So to start on that, OTO did depart. Mr. Devoy departed on Friday, and he wanted to pass on his sincerest gratitude to everyone. He definitely enjoyed this tour, and it was very fulfilling. He's sorry that he didn't get to say goodbye to more people in person due to the COVID circumstances. but yeah, so he has moved on. Our new OTO will be reporting mid to late July. So and the hiring process for a new civilian is going slow. I keep asking HR and they just keep telling me they're understaffed and things are moving slowly. So I don't have a good estimate on when we'll have a civilian there. So I am very thankful, cannot express how thankful I am for the auxiliary members that are DIROC staff and how much they've been helping us out. With that being said, I need everyone to ensure that they email the shared box, because I will have the North OTO monitoring the South shared box so that he can assist me. And then YN2 and I will be tackling the shared box and getting it out to those auxiliaries that are their staff. They're helping us. Desiree, Richard Weiss, Chris and Shake, Chris Mather and Shake. We would not be getting anything out, honestly. It would be so slow. So if you see those people, if you have interactions with them, thank them. I thank them, but also have patience and also know that they're acting on my behalf. A lot of things they'll ask me, you may not see them asking me, but they do, what they say has most likely been run by me and it's what's going. So with that being said, a little visitor. Yeah, have patience with us, and if you send everything to the shared box, when the new OTO does get here, he can pick up once he's up to speed. But you may be seeing responses from CWO Dustin Finkelson, who's the North OTO. Okay, so phase 3, it seems to be going well. We're getting all of the assignment to duty requests and mass gathering forms. Everyone's submitting their high risk forms. If they're not submitting the high risk forms or it's the wrong form, we are sending an email back and getting those from the members, which is great. Phase 3 is not going to change. Right now, phase 3 pretty much allows us to do everything that is allowed per national, the Reconstitution Guide. So things are not going to change until that Reconstitution Guide changes, basically. I'm pretty over the assignment to duty request also. And I know that depending on where you live, things are pretty much back to normal or very close to it. But we are held by that Reconstitution Guide, which is issued at the headquarters level. So I cannot really change things anymore. Once you do get approval, and please get this out to folks because it'll help us respond quicker because we'll have less requests. Once you're approved for a certain program or activity, you don't have to ask again unless it's like a mass gathering or public education. Well, let me say that again. Unless it is a like public mass gathering or public education, those are all case by case. But if you are asking to do VE and you get approval and PV and you get approval, then you're good to go unless you hear back from us because there's some major change COVID wise. So please get that out. We definitely still have members that are, they're doing extra work and then we're having to tell them, hey, we don't need this. And it would be nice to keep that kind of clutter out of the shared inbox right now. Okay, let's see. And if people don't know, the difference between the earlier revision of the high risk form and the current one is that the current one that is required is the only one we're accepting has vaccination information. The vaccination is not mandatory, but as we all saw via the ALOX that came out, I believe last week, there is the possibility that not being vaccinated may limit some activities you can do. As of right now, it's limiting C-school attendance for in-person C-schools only. And I have heard that there are some stations or units that may not be letting non-vaccinated personnel kind of get back to integrating and standing watch with their active duty members. That is at that unit's discretion, and they have their own reasons, and that's just one of their ways to mitigate risk and bring down risk for their members. So you can bring it to my attention, but I'm not going to be able to change it. We can inquire as to why, but the units can definitely do that. Okay, let's see. For the ATDs, like I said about our office staff, we require 7 days. I have been in, and we've all been into the shared box and responding. If you don't give us 7 days, you're likely going to get a response like the day before or not at all. And honestly, with basically 2 of us handling the whole District 11 to respond to assignment to duty requests, if you know that you're going to do an activity, I highly recommend you get it in 10 to 14 days in advance so we can give you the most notice and work out any issues if you don't have the right form or we're showing that you're not current in core training, all those things. So get the word out. We require 7 days. We'll do our best to get things that are submitted less than that, but it would probably be smart to try to get them in 10 to 14 days. Oxdata 2, go into there. There's a few things that we've been doing behind the scenes in Oxdata 2 because Oxdata 2 does not run, there are no basically REYR scripts, so it's not automatically running and putting people into REYR for, let's say, being out of, basically letting your nav rules lapse, or not being core training, up to date on core training. So we are going in and we are putting people REYR. If you are going REYR for the nav rule 70 or 95 lapsing, you will be put in you actually aren't going REYR, you're going into an admin status and there will be a note. And we did that because with admin status, we can put a note and tell you why basically you're red and not currently qualified in that competency. There's another one that I'm going to be doing starting next week is Shake has been going through and we found that we have about 45 to 50 PLBs that are issued right now that are expired. I'm going to be putting those members in an admin status also. I can't have you out. You don't have the required PPE. If it's expired, it's not current PPE, and if you're out of compliance with the PPE that's required, I can't have you out doing a patrol and you'll be going into an admin status. There will be a note there. Once you respond to Shake or the shared drive and turn in your PLB, we get you a new one, then I will take you out of that admin status. Make sure your members know that. Again, if they look in there and look at the comments, it'll be fairly self-explanatory for her, the notes, but FYI, those are happening behind the scenes because Oxdata 2 won't do it automatically. Going into that for at least patrols and competencies, those folks that last had a check ride done in 2017 are due this year. We have not seen many, if any, requests for check rides or even getting together and doing a QX. We can do those under phase 3. Let's get those down. We basically have between now and November 15th to do it. Just because the OTO is transferred and we have a gap does not mean we can't get QEs out there. So submit your forms and request for a QE. I'll get Bob McCoy, we'll get it scheduled, and we can get those done. There's definitely folks, and the ALOX does not give another year extension for those that last had a check ride in 2017. And I'm a little concerned because I'm not seeing the requests that we're going to have a lot of people at the end of this year going REYR for missing their their check ride. ALAC renewals, we have gotten a lot of requests for ALAC renewals, as is expected, because members weren't able to use their ALACs for about a year, well, more than a year. However, those ALAC renewals, even if a member had it prior to, I still need the renewal request or reactivation request to come from their active duty sponsor or civilian, employee of the Coast Guard sponsor. And that is because I can't just assume that because you had it, you're going to keep it or get it back, because we have to do annual checks on those. That kind of happens behind the scenes, and you probably didn't know it was happening in past years. But because they weren't used for over a year, we missed all of our annual checks, which was fine because no ALACs were being used. But I do require them. I've gotten a lot of requests from just auxiliary members. And then there's a delay because I'm having to go back to and figure out who the active duty sponsor is. So if you hear of people trying to get their ALACs renewed, this goes a lot for the ASCs. Please remind them that they need to have that active duty sponsor, email myself or the shared email. I'll get both emails and then I'll approve that and we will get going on it as is needed. I touched on the ALOCs regarding C schools. Got to be vaccinated to go to in-person C schools. That is a way to drive down risk. It doesn't mean that the vaccination is mandatory. It is a way that the Coast Guard is having to drive down risk, and for us authorizing to have members sitting in, a classroom for an extended period of time. Most C schools are, a few days to a week long, and you're sitting in the classroom for 8 hours. It's not like our meetings, which are much shorter. So if there's any questions about that, I can kind of address them, but that was a headquarters, policy that came out. So I was not involved. I was caught off guard by it. And we had to go back and check a whole bunch of STTRs that had already been processed because we didn't know that that was a requirement either. Let's see. That's done, that's done. We've gotten requests, and I thank folks that are kind of the POC for either the government trailers or even the like comms towers that we have, the radio towers that we have. We've gotten all of the requests for trailer maintenance and the batteries for those radio towers. They've all been put on order. Once we get those into the office or we know that they're being shipped, we'll let the POC know. But those were completed, and hopefully we'll be getting them soon. And I think the last thing is, if you're getting an ARIN aux data too, please put in a trouble ticket, submit a help ticket for that. We got a lot of emails. I don't know what was going in aux data 2 last week, but we got a lot of emails about errors to the shared drive. We were getting the same errors, and we don't have any control over those errors. So the quickest way to get a response or to have the aux data 2, company and the auxiliary members that are helping run that program know that there's an issue is to submit a help ticket straight from them and include the error code, or if you can, do a screen capture and include it for them. Okay, I think that's it. I'll open it up to comments and questions since that was kind of a lot.
Any questions from the board for Commander?
I have one. Ma'am, so do we need assignments to duty to have a live division meeting then?
Yes. You're the one person, so you only need, and we've been getting them for most, and if you go back and read the policy, basically the leader of that meeting needs to submit an assignment to duty request, a PPE and kind of safety plan for how, we're going to open the windows, we're going to have good airflow, we can maintain, distance, 6 feet, social distancing. Right. We're going to wipe down tables and chairs. So that kind of plan. And then also the mass gathering form. And that mass gathering form, I'm using it even if it's an outdoor thing. If you're having a mass gathering, it's a public outreach event, then submit that mass gathering. That just shows if anything came in question that we all did a risk assessment and we looked at the certain factors, even though, yes, I understand that our meetings may not technically be a mass gathering. It's a requirement. We're using it. I didn't want to create a new tool, basically, and it was a tool that was there that had some good questions that we can kind of adjust and apply. So assignment to duty only from the leader, though, of the event, not from every member in attendance, please.
That's right.
Okay.
Right.
Once that request is approved, you do not need to resubmit a request for subsequent meetings.
Right. As long as the circumstances aren't changing. So as long as you're going to always be in that same room at that same place and, you know, nothing's changing, then yep, you're good to go for as long as we're dealing with this.
All right, any other questions? Okay, with that, let's move on to bridge reports. Chief of Staff, Rick Ebel.
Okay, thank you, Commodore. I have sent out a save the date to all of the DSOs and the DCAPs. Division commanders, I apologize. I should have copied you and I did not. On July 17th at 10 a.m. in the morning, we'll be having a district staff officers meeting. It really to help keep this meeting shorter. So that's one thing. I will get that email sent out to you later today, I hope. Let's see. Response times to emails and phone calls. Most everybody responds in a reasonable amount of time, and the definition of a reasonable amount of time is within 24 hours. If you get a phone call and you can't get back to us, please just send us a quick email saying what's going on, when you'll get back to us. And that will help us out with the situation. The other thing with emails and on reports, not just division commanders, but also staff officers. I know the Commodore and I, we go down to the bottom of those reports. And first thing we look at is what kind of help you need from district leadership. Just remember, guys, if you're going to put something there, know your facts, because we are going to get back to you and ask some questions, and we need some really good definitive answers. So just know that we'd appreciate it, and it helps us help you. Other than that, I want to thank everybody for getting their reports in. Division commander, well, you guys don't work with my staff. Anybody here that's a DDC, and I'm not, I think Randy is our, and Chris. While I have you here, please remind your DSOs to get their June reports in. I need your reports by the 28th. I also told that to the DSOs because I have to do my report for the Commodore, my quarterly report, by July 1st. And that would help me out greatly. So if you could pass that message along, I appreciate it. That's all I have, Commodore.
Thank you, Rick. Next up, immediate past, Commodore Harshfield. You have anything to share?
Yes, I have three quick items. Number one, last week I sent out a notification about our Everbridge drill that's going to be coming up soon. I don't know when. I put Murphy in charge of it, and he's going to hit the button whenever he feels like it. Keep in mind, even though we aren't first responders per se, something happens, we're not going to go out, fight fires and that stuff, but we are the first responders to make sure that our members are okay. With fire season coming up and the Everbridge program, I can pretty much dial in where that fire is, do a 10, 20-mile circle, see if any members are in danger, and then send out alerts from that. With fire season coming up, if you get a flare up in your area, run it up the chain. Charlie will get a hold of me. We'll figure out if anybody's in the area. And we've also asked that the vice commanders help in this exercise that's coming up. The flotilla commanders may not always be available. So anyway, look forward to that. I don't know when it's coming, but when the message goes out, it will be going out district-wide to everybody. So please encourage your members to reply to it. So we know if the system works and any errors we can fix. The second item I have is we are doing, we have a risk management TCT scheduled for the 23rd, 24th, whatever that Tuesday, Wednesday is. We're not going to kill us like we did last year. We're going to do one Saturday and one Tuesday, Wednesday coming up. We got a pretty good share of people knocked out already, but we have a bunch more people coming. So they need to pay attention, look on the district calendar. As soon as we book it, I will get it listed up there. So we are going to have a couple more classes coming up here shortly. Last item, I need election dates so I can put that information on the district calendar. If you notice, there's not a lot posted on the district calendar. It's because I don't have the information and I don't make it up. So if you want your people to know what's going on, you need to send me the information so I can get it posted on the district calendar. Other than that, that's the only thing I have.
All right, any questions for the Commodore? All right, next up, bridge reports, DCAP North, Mike Fiamingo. You're muted, Mike.
Thank you, Commodore. Just wanted to be brief. In Division 4, we've had some real good success with virtual public education classes and real good attendance. And with the classes being virtual, we are getting attendance from out-of-state participants. Division 7 for National Safe Boating Week, we covered the coastline pretty well. We had Ventura with an event with the PA booth, as well as vessel examiners, and also in Morro Bay and Port San Luis. To me, the highlight was a safety video that was done with the crew from Station Channel Islands Harbor. In Division 12, they are cleaning up some problems from finance reports that were missing, and they should have that all cleared up shortly. And working on people who are in rear for operations. And that's all we have from LALB North, Commodore.
Thanks, Mike. DCAP LA South, Michael Bozart.
Thank you, Commodore. I'm going to start out with just a couple brief comments, and I'll keep this whole thing short as requested. But across the 5 divisions, we focused at the beginning of the year on kind of a big 5. And I'm going to cover 3 of those with you because I think we made some real progress on all these fronts. The first one, of course, is around operating in a pandemic, and specifically emphasis on welfare checks and member training and recruiting, retention, and Zoom skills. And one of the takeaways I get when I go to these meetings and the flotilla meetings as well, I hear more and more about interest in our members' welfare and how people are doing than I ever have. And that's a indicative of maybe the environment we're in, but I do see both the leadership and the day-to-day members really showing a lot of concern for their fellow members. And I think that's worth mentioning. The other item we focus on is collaboration, and this is across divisions as well as flotillas and the disciplines, all the different SO departments. And one of the things we committed to is have all the division commanders attend at least one other division meeting, and they've all done that. In fact, there's multiple visits now, and that's just to share best practices, share goals, and look for opportunities to team across divisions. And in turn, the commanders are encouraging their flotilla commanders to do the same thing within their division. And that's frankly something we haven't done well in the past in our AOR. And I'm really starting to see good results there too. So this was a perfect timing, if you will, during the pandemic to kind of lift our game on that front. So I'd somebody send out kudos to the divisions on that. And most of our divisions are also focused on succession planning now, and that was one of our big five. Specific to five, member retention is something worth calling out. We've lost some members that due to retirement, but I think there's a half a dozen in the pipeline now, which I think is a great result given the condition we're in. Strong emphasis on vessel exams, and we got a half a dozen trainees in the pipeline, and hopefully be qualified here by early summer. And as always, member training and ABS classes with the local yacht clubs are now getting engaged, and we hope to see all that geared up here shortly. Division 6, again, good emphasis on retention. Their VE program, which they're kind of known for, is fired up and ready to go. The public education, also online virtual classrooms, well, this is for 5 and 6, have been well attended and successful. And as you probably know, Division 6 takes a lead role on our communications and our Everbridge cycles and exercises. So good on them for continuing that progress. And on Division 11, again, good results on recruiting. They just completed a classroom portion of the Boat Crew Academy and have a number of folks that have gone through that. And the counter argument or counterpart to that is they just lost 2 facilities and are in a tough way to get these folks that are newly trained and want to get qualified on the water. So that's probably their biggest challenge. What I will leave you with from a challenge perspective, and this is across all 3 divisions, we're still getting a lot of noise on Ox Data 2, whether it's difficulty just logging in or filling out time reports or doing their own reports. And this is not to a lack of effort on our part, I think. And Mr. Mather, I'm going to call you out. Thank you so much for everything you've done between the videos and the PowerPoint slides. I think we've really put our best foot forward to get the information out there. But it's pretty clear to me it's going to take a while for this learning curve to shore up. And that's just going to be a lot of hand-holding and a lot of support along the way. But in terms of challenges, I think that's probably rises to the surface across the divisions in LALB South. That's all I've got. Thanks.
Thank you, Boz. Yeah, no question. This past year and a half has been very challenging with the COVID restrictions, but it has forced us to find new ways to do our business. And for the most part, we've risen to the occasion. And I think some of the things we learned, such as virtual meetings, is going to stick with us moving forward. A lot of advantages to that. Thank you for that report. Next up, DCAP San Diego Inland, Rod Donahue.
Thank you, Commodore. Just to echo what my prior to district captains have said, we've also experienced similar challenges in divisions 1, 9, and 10, and I'm going to invite the division commanders, because I told them I would, to give a very brief report. But to echo the sentiment, I think opening solves all problems. So the biggest challenges that we've faced is a negative, which we think we're going to turn into a positive, and that's just that the members of the flotillas have been so eager to get going. I applaud my division commanders for keeping the faith, keeping everyone to the extent they can in line, and keep them going and keep them retained. And so with that, I'll turn very briefly to Division 1, Gary Peterson.
Thank you, Rod. Our goal is the intent of leadership and maintain the engagement of our flotillas, and I think we've done a really good job of doing that. We seem to have a lot of interest in communicating ideas and working together. I've got kind of my ups and downs while we're still working through through this pandemic. The ups are we continue to recruit new members. Most of the flotillas are seeing an interest from communities regarding the auxiliary. All of our flotillas are continuing to meet regularly via Zoom or GoToMeeting. And the communications we're receiving from district are really helpful. And we've also invited the Gold side to attend most of our division meetings, and we've had really good participation. And it's very encouraging for that to happen. The division is looking forward to, activities in the upcoming 4th of July. We've got a parade in Coronado. We've got a color guard that's getting together. And So there is a lot of enthusiasm. I think that, you know, everybody's trying to get out and start doing things. So that's really great. You know, a couple of the downs we've got, which are few, but we are also having to deal with, you know, the various restrictions we have, both at the state, the county, the district, some of these things. And so, you know, people are a little concerned about what to plan, but, you know, we're working through that. Our members seem to want, are asking for, you know, goal setting, particularly in the AIR program. We've got some interest in that, and that's something that we're looking forward to pursuing. We're looking for more opportunities, you know, from the district and within the division to promote continuing training, the, you know, PQS, quals, TCO, and other op courses. The pass down from district levels and the training more regularly. We'd like to have, you know, some of the information a little quicker. We just got a notification regarding Ox lambs, and unfortunately, by the time we got it, there was no ability for our people to participate, and most of them were put on a wait list. And the other thing we have is just the face-to-face activities, and just looking for, you know, some sort of consistency in that, because again, I think as mentioned earlier, there seems to be some people that want to meet and some don't. And so I think we're going to have to look at some sort of a dual type of programs going forward, because we've got some people saying they want to be vaccinated and others that say they don't. But overall, we're doing really well, and we'll look forward to the next 6 months of the year.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Very thorough report. Mr. Smith, Matt Smith, Division 10.
Well, we actually had really quite a stellar quarter. My staff officer for public affairs, Jack Pauly, has been in overdrive. He arranged for us to have a big Sea Scout event, and it was absolutely fantastic. Great partnering with the Sea Scouts. We also had a great event with Arizona Game and Fish, who was extremely supportive of the auxiliary, where we exchanged life jackets, and then we're planning a new life jacket exchange for July. Both events, Jack really did a lot of good legwork to make these happen, and I really can't praise him enough for the work he did. Another member, Sydney Hay, whom you all know as a DSOPB, managed to get a declaration from the governor of Arizona, Doug Ducey, for National Safe Boating Week. And then there was a little surprise invitation from the Arizona Senate for us to be, as the auxiliary, recognized for National Safe Boating Week. So those are two huge, huge events. I mean, to get that kind of state recognition from the governor and the state Senate is phenomenal. And so I have to definitely thank Sydney for her work on that. And so we have some events that are going on extremely well. And I think those events have really given people in the division a lot of hope. I've noticed like a slight turnaround in attitude. I'll have to admit that people have been negative for quite a while. But I think having assignment to duty to those events, and then those events being as successful as they were, have really kind of started making people realize, like, hey, you know, it's time to wake up. It's time to get active again. And we also had a great member training for operations, where the SOOP, Diane Kiesel, ran an online class, and it was very well attended and very well received. A lot of people enjoyed it and have said very good things about it. So, and then also we had a few members get their OXOP during the downtime. So it's been nice to see people staying active and doing what they can during the downtime, and making good use of the downtime. And I know we're all looking very much to actually having some uptime, let's call it, right? And start getting like an ops tempo that is really, you know, kind of, I don't know if you guys are really all that familiar with Division 10 historically, but we're like during the summer, the Arizona Lake activity is really hyperactive, and historically we've been a very heavy and fast ops tempo organization, and that's, I think, why it was so hard for us to kind of take a hit over the past year and a half or so, and members are really looking forward to that. We are still having a few difficulties in that Bass Pro Shop was one of our longtime partners, and they've just completely cut us off because they're nationalists saying that nobody can use the meeting room. They don't want any kind of activity going on. So that kind of hurts. But Arizona Game and Fish has picked up, and they've offered meeting space. They've offered a lot of partnering. So we have a lot to look forward to going forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith. Great report. And last but certainly not least, we have Mr. Lupati, who is the vice for Division 9, standing in for Mr. Walker. Mr. Lupati. William, are you with us?
Yeah, for Division 9, we are continuing working on training and retention, recruitment and retention. And we've been working with Flotilla to train on problem with Axe Data 2. Member cannot get in, and work with the Flotilla so with help them to at least familiar with how to get into Axe Data 2. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, sir. And thank all my division commanders. Commodore.
Thank you, Rob. Let's move on to staff reports. Virgil, finance report.
Okay, hopefully everybody got a copy of the finance report. As you can see, there's been very, very little activity this year. Hopefully that'll pick up for too long. Second quarter new member dues should be going out to everybody on the second part of July. Other than that, any questions?
Anybody? Okay, thank you, Virgil. Next up is review of the minutes from the last meeting. Patrick?
Thank you, Commodore. I submitted the corrected copy of the minutes for approval. As of today, it is up to date. Are there any questions or concerns or any edits I need to make?
I assume everybody's read the minutes. With that, I would like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Mark Forster,
I second it.
second by Chris Hartsfield. Is there any discussion? With that, the minutes have been approved. Next up, Leslie Pelosi. I'm not sure what happened, but she left a message this morning that she would not be able to attend today. I don't have any further details on that. Also like to hear from DSO-IS, Chris Mather. Can you give us an update on IS?
Sure, thank you, Commodore. IS, as Boz and some others have alluded to, our focus for most of the last year and a half has been training the membership at large, our IS team first, and then the membership at large. And that is an ongoing system. I see that going forward, indefinitely. On the good side, though, we do have more members logging on and entering their time. I'm trying to have the IS team use basically outreach to the membership when they receive, for example, an old 7029 e-form. We reach out to them and explain to the members that it's going to take them probably less time and it's easier to do it in Ox Data 2. So we're working through the process. On the national side, they do run what they call a sprint or a software update about every 2 to 3 weeks. And they're slowly but surely making the system in general more user-friendly, okay? The downside of that, which Commander Keenan hit on pretty hard, is that some of the things we really need to do for the last 18 months, they haven't done yet for whatever reason. And the big one, of course, is REYR scripts. We haven't had one run since the end of 2019. So we are having to go in and manually put people into REYR, which is awkward and very, very time consuming. And I'm sure we're missing people. So we're looking forward to when the automatic scripts come back. The other side of that, and this is even if the automatic scripts were running, is that when somebody goes in REYR, and this is for everyone on this call to please pass down to the deck plate. Once a member goes into REYR, once they take care of whatever they were missing, for example, an OxCT course or TCTRM, whatever it is, that doesn't automatically clear the REYR, okay? DIROC's office via the shared mailbox has to be notified for each individual member for them to be able to clear an REYR or a REW, okay? So that is very important. It doesn't happen automatically, never has. One final comment, they've summoned basically all the DSOISs nationwide to NACON on paid orders for 2 days of closed session. I have no idea what the agenda is, but I'll be excited to come back and report, hopefully some good news coming out of NACON. That's all I have, Commodore.
Any questions for Chris?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment to add on.
Sure.
This, Commander, and then I'll go back to the questions. But speaking of the updates and the changes they're making to Oxdata 2, if you got in Thursday morning or later and you look at your member page, your profile, you'll see that now kind of at the top, there's 2 checkboxes. One used to be for BQ or the boating safety course. And now there is a little red box for everyone because we haven't gone in and changed them for if you have your risk assessment form submitted to DIROC. Okay, they just threw that in there. I noticed it before they even publicized it, and it's a little late in the game. So we are now, I mean, we have hundreds of these things that currently we would have to go in one by one and update. It will be a nice tool because when you have a mass gathering or you're doing your meetings, you know, one of the requirements of the leader is to see that everyone submitted their form. So it would be nice if you could now go in there and look at all your members, run a report and see that they're all green, have checked that in. But we are trying to get them to do a mass upload because it would take us quite a while to go enter hundreds of these and check the boxes. So please, please, please get to your members that although you are red, we are still tracking it via our old Excel spreadsheet that we've been doing for months. And we will, you know, check there before we approve or deny anything and give us time because we're really hoping not to have to go in and one by one update these for everyone in the district. But don't send emails, or if you do send emails, I'm going to tell you, hold on, that's not accurate yet. It's in there, but basically we're not utilizing it yet for our district because I just don't have the manpower to start one by one unless they tell me that's the only option I have. And then it's going to take us quite a while. Okay.
Thank you, Commander. Any questions for Commander or for Chris? With that, it looks like we might have another half hour to go. Does anybody need a 5-minute break? Nobody? All right, let's move on to sector reports. John Ross.
As soon as I learn how to unmute, there we go. Good morning, Commodore, Commander Keenan, board and staff. Exciting things going on at Sector LALB. I'll cover a bunch of them here in this report. The first thing is I want to mention about the augmentation. We're getting a number of people back to work. The first one is the food service staff will be back soon in the base LALB galley. I put this one first because on Thursday, the base galley received the award as the best shoreside galley in the Coast Guard. And I can tell you that the CS folks are really looking forward to having our auxiliary folks back into the galley. The next one is the uninspected passenger vessel UPVs inspections. They are starting up as we speak. They have a backlog of over 150 UPV inspections to do from last year and this year, with as long as the new one's coming up. Commercial fishing vessel support to the sector already started this past week. Life raft inspections, our only inspector left right now is Jan Sindstrom, and he's in coordinating with the prevention department to teach a course for potential life raft inspectors within the next few weeks. This will include several active duty members also. We have a dozen members or so who have expressed interest in that, plus working on marine safety qualification. The MS training will begin over the next couple of months in cooperation with the DSO. for marine safety. Marine domain awareness, MDA patrols will also begin. There's already some authorization in the sector for that. Container inspections have already been improved with the reserves at the sector and will start prior to the end of June. Watchstanders are preparing to return to work at Station LALB. We already have auxiliary members working at both Station Channel Island and Station Morro Bay. Our biggest delay for watchstanders and for the processing of data to other augmenting activities at the sector is the delay in getting our LDAC cards, limited data access cards. It is slow, and Commander Keenan, thank you for your mentioning about that. I've been in coordination with the sector response chief and his staff for a better understanding of what OPFACs we have available now and the potential for doing additional support for the sector and for the stations. Since the first of the year, the sector has received 95 requests for surface operational patrols within the AOR. So far, 67 have been completed, and 3 more patrols are scheduled for today. There are 9 more future patrols that have been approved for the rest of this month and several already for July. There is a special operation being planned for Monday and Tuesday being run by District 11 and their staff from Alameda that involves the use of our OPFAC Easy Does It for an event at sector and working with Station LALB assets. This is going to be an exciting one. I look forward to a report following that. The Prevention Department Waterways Management Division has been coordinating with us to support marine events starting today. Our first event for the season is in Ventura with 2 operational facilities at the Ventura Outrigger Challenge. Also working with Waterways Management for potential coverage of July 4th fireworks programs. There are currently 14 fireworks programs along the coastline. Unfortunately, we only have a few operational facilities that are available to support the waterside safety zone for those events. On the public affairs arena, you've already heard from Division 7 about the National Safe Boating Week as they opened it up with 4 different events in the same 2 days at Channel Islands Harbor, Ventura Harbor, Morro Bay, and Port San Luis. And they appreciate the distribution of the sector's new Fire Trifold handout and also of getting the paddlecraft stickers out to the boats. There actually been a number of cases where having those stickers on the boat have helped the sector not having to respond with a lot of assets. And they are also very excited about having their new sticker or their new trifold included on that really neat Division 7 website. As far as some additional activities, including I'm having regular meetings with the auxiliary liaison officer and the order issuing officer with the prevention department with Waterways Management and the logistics staff. They're still trying to find the computers that were removed from our auxiliary desks in the sector. Hopefully we'll have them back within the next week or 2. So we're working with them to get the computers back and to get back things in place so our members can return to their activities, such as permissive orders to cover their activity. Had the opportunity to meet with the new commanding officer at base LALB, Commander Sharkey, this past Thursday, and we discussed how we can work together on the base. We're looking forward to a new and really great relationship with the base, and Commander Starkey is very supportive of the auxiliary. Finally, I'd like to include a statement for emergency management since it's also a part of ASC in addition to being the DSOEM. We've been working with Emergency Management and Force Readiness Team, that's EMFR at the sector, to support the sector and to identify auxiliary members who have training and certifications that are not included in OXData 2. At the national level, the Q Directorate for Emergency Management and Disaster Response has designed a new questionnaire for input on emergency management qualifications. We will do a beta test over the next few weeks to about a dozen people in our AOR to work out some of the bugs, and then we will canvass the district to populate the database of potential personnel who can support the Coast Guard emergency responses. This will also be useful data to determine what local training may be needed to be provided. The first part of that training has already been tentatively scheduled for July 31st for a 6-hour course taught by an auxiliarist from the Q department at the national level on the Incident Management Software System, or IMSS, that's used by the sector during incidents. There will be a few active duty members in that training also. So there's more to come. I'm excited about it. I think the activities at Sector LALB are just absolutely fantastic, and they're jumping through hoops to get us back as fast as they can. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Excellent report. Any questions for John? Move on to our sector coordinator for San Diego, Mike Fulgham.
Thank you, Commodore. We're pretty active down here in Sector San Diego. I just had a meeting with our 3 OXLOs that are assigned to sector. Lieutenant Commander Scott Verag is our OXLO Air. Lieutenant Commander John Santorum is our OXLO Prevention, and Lieutenant Ryan Zabo is our OXLO Response. These 3 gentlemen met with me and Dan Durkis to figure out base access for division and flotilla meetings, and also augmentation. We're trying to get that program up to speed again. In fact, we are now supporting 1 cutter as far as food services is concerned. We had some questions about our exhorters coming aboard Sector San Diego, especially for meetings and training events. But from what the DIROCS commander just told us, as far as the COVID screening, mask, social distancing, and wiping down of those meeting rooms will help out with the list that I have to submit for each one of those events to sector, because they were also asking questions for when they received their vaccine, if they ever had COVID and if they recovered, and also if they've been out of the AOR, which they require all the new active duty personnel to answer when they come into checking into sector. With that, I think I'll just recommend to the commanding officer sector that this is our requirement from DIROCS, and I'm pretty sure that they'll accept that. However, augmentation people, we have 17 listed that have asked to come back aboard in their last assignments, but we will be asking them COVID questions from the medical clinic, which is they have to pass their bloodborne pathogen course and risk management. And I've pretty much got that underway. As far as the aviation end of it, I guess our DSO AV has asked for an OX 17 training event on the 7th and 8th of August of this year. As soon as I get a list from him, we'll submit that to security and schedule him for those dates. As far as Dan Durkis, he has been assigned to the Waterway Management Division to be a pre-screener for marine events going on not only in San Diego, but also in Arizona. We had this Lake Parker raft float, and after we got a lot of people interested in supporting that from Phoenix and also Sector LALB and our people, we found out that the stakeholders and events leaders were all covering their bases. So we pretty much had to back off on that. And that's why Dan Durkis is being assigned, as a screener to find out from those events if they need auxiliary support. As far as our augmentation, once the people get cleared and they start augmenting, we will have permissive orders cut for them as their ATD. We do have some events come out that Dan Durkis is taking care of, and that's the Big Boom event in December. We've also been asked by sector to help run their PA office, because apparently I'm not sure what happened in there, but the district personnel may have been withdrawn and returned to their district commands. We have a question about ACAC cards, but we're going to resolve that. What I'd like to find out from D11SR is who's our point of contact as far as the petty officer that handles that process. And once we get going, the people who are doing UPV exams and supporting the incident management division have to put in missile data for those particular patrols and examinations that they're doing. We do want better communications with the Eastern AOR area. And that I will be contacting the division captains and all their flotilla commanders to make sure that they got my request to update their meeting dates and go from there. Other than that, that's pretty much what we're doing, and hopefully we'll have more to report this month. Any questions?
Charlie, you muted.
Charlie, you're still muted.
Okay, you probably missed some very important stuff. I was just saying about the differences between Sector San Diego and in LA. A lot of similarities, a lot of differences, all good stuff. And Commander would probably say the two sectors in North are different yet again, but we all have to adjust to all these differences. Anybody need a break yet? We probably have another 15, 20 minutes to go. Moving on to committee reports. As you know, no D train this year, but we are planning and expecting a full-blown D train in March. Commodore Harshfield is the D train committee chairman. Anything you want to say, Chris?
Well, I had this big, long report ready to give, but we're not having D-Train this year. We are working on the website, getting it ready for March. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we're able to pull it off this time. And
we are considering Ventura again, since we already put in so much time and effort with the folks at that hotel. So that's something we'll be looking into probably within the next couple, 3 months. Continuing with committee reports, the audit committee, Mike Fiamingo.
Thank you, Commodore. Just like to let everyone know that we will be auditing year 2019 and year 2020. We now have our committee together, which will be comprised of Virgil, myself as chair, Norm Bundick, Rick Ebel, and Rudy Cortez. We have not set the meeting time as yet. It will be either Friday, the 10th in the afternoon or evening. If that is not the time available, then it will be Sunday morning. So we will announce once we have that timeline set up. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Mike. Budget committee, DCAP Donahue.
Yes, sir, Commodore, thank you. We've got our committee appointed. Of course, we've got our busiest man in show business, Mr. Campbell's also, Virgil Campbell's also with our committee there. We've got Matt Smith and we've got Gary Peterson and myself chairing the committee. We've got a deadline to submit a proposed budget by July 1. We're aware of that. We'll be meeting. And if there's any information or input from the division commanders or the staff officers with respect to budget matters, please, I invite you to submit them to me. The more information we have, the better. Additionally, I am aware that there may be some a presentation with respect to special presentations submitted today that may impact budget matters. And if it does, that'll also be considered in the budget that's submitted will account for whatever happens today in terms of votes. That's it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Rod. Boz, can you give us an update on awards?
Yes, sir. I'm gonna capture the screen and get something posted here. So just give me one moment. Can you all see the
Yes.
11? Okay, very good. Okay, I've got about half a dozen slides to run you through. Let me start out by thanking the awards committee. As you can see there, it's made up of myself, Commander Harshfield, or Commodore Harshfield, Norm Bundick, and Chris Mather. In addition, Alan Carver, Leslie Pelosi, Commodore Geiger, and Chief of Staff Ebel participated in all of our meetings. And while we met 3 times prior to this, there's a lot of work done behind the scenes. So I'm pleased to present our recommendations to you today. I'm not able to advance here. Let me see what's going on. Here we go. So the recommendation that I'm going to walk you through are, there's not a lot new here from what we've done in the past, but I will highlight what is. But in essence, the award committee has gone through this stuff in detail, shored up some open questions here, given that these are 2020 awards. These are not 2021 yet. We'll probably be reviewing those in another quarter or two, but these are kind of going back here to make sure what we're presenting to you is accurate and relevant. But it's a recommendation to the work committee that the board approve these awards. This is a quick snapshot of the process that we went through. I did my best to kind of represent the award categories and how they got to you. The blue squares are complete. The green squares are where we are today, and the white squares on the right is what's left. But as you can see, our scope has been broadened. If you've been involved in this in the past, it's typically been district awards. With the PDCA being put on ice here, the personal awards have been brought into the fold, although we relied heavily on Ellen Carver to screen all those. And from that point, we took it on to DIROCS. And while the sector awards are not in our scope, we are keeping an eye on that just to make sure if there's anything that the sectors need from us, we provide it to them. So this is meant to kind of encapsulate the entire landscape of district awards, and the award committee keeping tabs on all that. This is a quick cost estimate. Not looking for budget approval. We already have a budget line items. We look like our best estimate, we're going to be about $50 over when you calculate everything that needs to be put together here for the award. So we think that's a good result. The awards inventory is a couple slides here. I've blacked out the recipients to protect those names for now, so we have some element of surprise. But you will recognize, hopefully, all these awards. Really, the only thing that is probably worth mentioning here is we bifurcated a couple award categories. So, for example, if you look at award number 5, the Instructor of the Year Award, Public Education and Member Training, we eliminated that award and replaced it with a specific award for PE and a specific award for MT. And I see 5B's got a typo there. We did the same thing for the VSC's award. So instead of including all the powered vessels and self-powered, we bifurcated those to show recognition for the people that focus in those areas. And we did the same thing for the PE instructor aid. So instead of grouping PE and MT, we split those apart. And the remaining awards you'll see on this page, and not a lot of change here. There, the other thing I'll mention here in the criteria, you'll see subjective and objective prior to the criteria column. And the objective criteria is simply calculated. And Mr. Mather's been critical for running those reports for us. The subjective were our nominations by our DSOs. And most of those will not be awarded in 2020, just given the nature of the year we had. But there are a couple that there will be. But again, nothing new other than what I've outlined for you here. The next category is all the Flotilla Commander Awards. And again, I've blocked those names out. These are completely done. Thanks to go out to Mr. Bundick for all his hard work. Every Flotilla Commander has come back to give us their recipient. All those have been verified by the division commander, so we're set to go with those as well. And we got all the calcs, and I didn't want to give you all the names, but this is kind of a breakout of what all the star awards look like. So we've got nearly 300 of those to hand out. The Last thing I'll mention here is personal awards. I mentioned early on that we kind of brought that into our scope. Those have been received and submitted to DIROCS, and really not part of this group's for review or approval, but just want to make sure you knew that those were done as well. So that's a very high level summary and recap of our awards, and I'll hand it back to you, Commodore, for board approval, unless there's any questions.
Any questions? With that, I'd like to ask for a motion to accept Boz's recommendations for awards.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Mike Fiamingo, a second by Chief of Staff Ebel. All approving, please raise your hand. All right, any nays? With that, the motion has been approved. Okay, any further comments on awards? All right, moving along, we've got a few special presentations. First up is Commodore Blanchett wants to talk about some presidential awards. Bert?
Good morning, everyone. As you may recall, some of you may recall, back in 2016, we applied for the Presidential Volunteer Award. We had registered a whole bunch of people. We got a budget approved for about, if I remember correctly, and maybe Virgil could help me out on that, it was about $4,000. And it was approved, and we sent in the information to the department that handles those awards. And then the award was discontinued by the administration at that time. The award has been reinstated by the federal government and this administration. And with the help of Chris Mathers and Tyler Tong, they were able to combine the data from the original AUX data list and AUX data 2. And right now we have about, what do I have here? About 400 awards. The awards cover members who have put in more than 4,000 hours in their lifetime, which is easily done with the auxiliary. The cost of the award, and I am proposing the award, which is a certificate and also a coin, come to about $6,400. So I am proposing that we follow through on the awards now that they've been reinstated for a budget amount of about $6,400. And that number could change in the event that people resign from the auxiliary or pass over the bar, then we drop them from the list. And we might have a few more people that have qualified with the 4,000 hours. So my request to the board is an approval of approximately $6,400 to follow up on the Presidential Volunteer Award. Your mic is muted.
We're going to challenge each person who comes to
Charlie.
to become an Arctic
Any questions for Commodore Blanchett? Everybody understand what he's asking for?
Commodore Blanchett, this would be an annual award?
Now, this would be to bring us up to date with all, well, yes and no. This would bring us up to date for all of the hours that auxiliarists in our district have put in over the years. The original proposal back in 16 is the district would pay for the first group. And then as members accumulate more than 4,000 hours, the flotilla would pick up the cost of the award for their member.
Okay, thank you.
I know when we looked at this last time, I think there was a medallion available as well as a coin. That's still the case?
I've looked, actually, I was hoping there was a pin that they had. The medallion and I think the coin that what we're referring to are one and the same. It's
Okay.
about $1,500 a member for the coin or medallion and the certificate. And we could drop the medallion or coin and just do the certificate, which is about $10, including shipping.
Right. So at this point, we're looking for $6,400. Is that right?
Correct. Because the original approval, we never spent the money.
Right, right. All right. All right, can I get a motion to approve this expenditure?
I make a motion that we set aside $6,400 to cover the initial cost of this presidential award.
I second.
Any discussions? If no discussion, we will go ahead and vote. Patrick, could you take a vote by roll call, please? Patrick?
You're muted, Patrick.
That does help, doesn't it?
Yep.
District Commodore Geiger,
Aye.
District Chief of Staff Ebel,
Aye.
District Captain L.A. Flamingo,
Aye.
District Captain South Bozarth,
Aye.
District Captain San Diego Inland Donahue,
Aye.
Immediate Past Commodore Harshfield,
Aye.
Director of Auxiliary Commander Keenan. Not voting.
I'll abstain.
Yeah, thank you. Division Commander 1 Peterson. Vice Commander 1 Islas.
Aye.
Division Commander 4 Pearson. Vice Commander 4 Foe.
You're muted, Quay.
Sorry. Aye.
No problem. Division Commander 5 Brown.
Aye.
Division Commander 6 Palmer.
Aye.
Division Commander 7 Cortez.
Aye.
Division Commander 9 Walker. Vice Commander 9 Lupati.
Aye.
Division Commander 10 Smith.
Aye.
Division Commander 11 Ziegler.
Aye.
Vice Commander 12 Borgward.
Aye.
That concludes the roll call.
Thank you, Patrick. With that, the motion to spend $6,400 on the presidential award is approved. Please note it in the minutes. Okay, thank you very much, Commodore Blanchett.
Thank you for allowing this to be approved or presented and approved by the board. And thanks to Chris Mathers for all the work that he did on this project. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Chris seems to have his fingers in just about every pie we have, is he?
Lucky me.
Yeah, and can you put that $5 back that you just pulled out, please, Chris?
Yeah. His fingerprints are all over the place.
Okay, next up, Norm Bundick going to talk to us about memorial marker.
Thank you, Commodore. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, as most of you know, have seen it, and for those who haven't, this is the section on Sector LA next to the small boat basin that shows our
Memorial
items.
markers.
Yeah, memorial markers, and for some reason I can't seem to go past this. There we are. That's what a total stone looks like once it's filled in. This is the stone we had started several years ago, and we ran out of, well, quite frankly, the company that was doing this, Kemp Stone Company, went out of business. And that's where we are. We have not entered any names on here since 2019. Actually, I think after May. So what happened is there was a search put on by the PDCA to find an engraver. That didn't happen in 2020. PDCA was disbanded. Just recently, we found a engraver, and unfortunately, it's a bit more expensive than in the past, which when you think about it, things have gone up. I remember paying 29 cents a gallon for gas and getting glasses and cookware with it. Now it's $4.25 I just paid. Anyways, we all know things are going up in price. And what we do now is this, right as of today, we have approximately 50 members who have crossed the bar that need to be entered onto the stone. The new company, Matthews Granite, will be the people that actually supplied the granite for these particular stones. And they traditionally do not do the engravings off-site, but they've allowed it to be happening now, both here and I understand also up in D11 North. So we have a good working relation with them. The price per name is $150. And that is almost double from what it was when we had the old company. Now, what we're going to be able to do, and this is with the help of Virgil and the Commodore, the past payment for the name, the last time I know our flotilla paid was $50 for the individual, and the rest was picked up by district. That same formula will apply for this year, but it'll be revisited in future meetings about financing. So the understanding on this one is we have 50 names at $150. That's $9,000 for the cost. Excuse me, $7,500. The flotillas will be assessed by their number of members, $50. So that covers the entire bill. So if there's any questions on this, please bring them up now. But the idea will be when the names are put on there, Matthews will bill the district will then bill the individual flotillas $50 per name per individual. Is that correct, Virgil or Commodore? Would like to comment on that?
Virgil?
That is correct.
Good. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay, I can't get out of here.
All right, hang on. I'll kick you out. Bye-bye.
Okay.
There you go. It's the only power I have left to do is kick people off of Zoom.
So as I understand it, Norm, that's just informational purposes only. We don't need any action from the board.
No, because that's actually coming directly from the flotillas as they have been in the past for their portion. And in this case, the district will pick up the remainder.
Right. And we don't need any more funding.
No.
Thank you, Norm. Next item, it's not on the agenda, but we are going to be making a modification to the appendix of the standing rules. Bill Freed, can you walk us through that?
Thank you, Commodore. The last time the appendix to the standing rules, there's a standing rules in the appendix being more local oriented standing rules are standard nationally. The last change to the appendix was in 2012. And so this is really just an update and very minor at that. It was brought up to our attention by Mike Boz at the last meeting, and there was a change to the deadlines in the awards for the awards committee because of the timing and the change of the financial calendar year. And that is changing it to October 1st. The district awards committee shall submit its recommendations to the district board by October 1st. That's the change. And then the information systems to determine the recipients of all district awards and for ordering and ensuring delivery of all awards March 15th. Again, it's just a change of some dates. The other change was necessary because of the vote and the change for the past division commanders association. Previously, the president of that association was a voting member of the board. There was a vote that was taken by the board that voting member is no longer a voting member, and then a recommendation passed up through DIROCS to the district commander to go ahead and suspend the past division commanders association until such time as it gets reactivated, if that ever occurs. But to change the appendix to reflect that action, if that action is confirmed by the commander. The also within the appendix A, there's a couple of items that the association had to do with the D-Train and D-Train committee, et cetera. And so there's been some minor changes just to reflect that if the association is not active, then it doesn't apply. If it is active, it will apply. So I've tried to make the standing rules adaptable to whether or not the association is going to be active or not. And with the assumption that it's not going to be active now, but certainly could be in the future, should everyone here become active and fire it back up and take part. But right now, it's not happening. So, any questions on the changes to the standing rules?
Now, before I sign the new appendix, we need to be certain that the district commander has approved the suspension. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, that's a question for DIROCS. Commander, is that correct?
Commander?
Yeah, I don't foresee any issues with it, but getting paperwork through during the summer and they have picked up their travel schedule again has definitely been slow since they weren't traveling and doing stuff. So I would say it's safe to sign it, but I don't have the final signature or approval from district commander. And honestly, I foresee him passing that right back down to me to sign on his behalf.
Okay, so I've got it right here, Bill, ready to sign. So as soon as I get confirmation from Commander, I will sign it and pass it back on and send it to all members of the board, as well as post it on the district website.
Yeah, Commodore, we do need a vote of the board on that with a two-thirds vote to correct. And then you would sign it, of course, and then pass it on.
So let's take that vote. And I think a hands vote should be sufficient for this.
Charlie, could I ask a question first here? I'm sorry. So Are we, by signing this, are we basically saying that we're never gonna like re-up the PDCA?
No, not at all. We are suspending it so that anybody that's currently a member of the PDCA, once we reactivate it again, if and when, you will continue to do your life membership.
Okay. All right, because I'm in my last year as a division commander right now, and so I was actually interested in joining the PDCA. So I don't want to do anything that's going to end up, killing.
No. Well, you can't join it right now, but
oh, sure.
If it is reactivated as a past division commander, you can join.
Okay.
Any more questions?
I would just say that it was a very conscious decision to suspend versus like completely dismantle the PDCA on the leadership's behalf. And as I understand it, if there's enough members or potential members of PDCA that are willing to step up and take a leadership role in that, function, then we would be able to vote on it or bring it up to vote during any board meeting, correct?
Right. And the
Yes,
key,
ma'am, that's correct.
the key to this,
Correct.
finding somebody to be the president, and ideally.
Right. There was no one stepping up. So I 100% still agree that it's the correct decision, but just for everyone's knowledge that, basically there's going to have to be some planning. You're going to have to present it to the board that, here is the leadership of the PDCA. We'd like to, have a motion to take it out of suspension status.
11 North has got a strong PDCA primarily because they have an outstanding leader. Commander, what's the guy's name up there? Jim somebody.
Yeah, it's Jim Losey now. And they've had a couple past Commodores also do it. They've lucked out with people just wanting to run with it. And yeah, the PDCA pretty much does almost all their big training weekends and puts it on. But until we have that, it's just, I think suspending it is the best thing, because otherwise it's just an organization not doing anything.
Right. The last time I checked, 10 of 16 districts nationwide, 10 of 16 had an active PDCA. So it's not everyone. And the key is going to be, if we get somebody to step up and want to take over the leadership, then we'll revisit it at that time. Any further questions? All right, show of hands, all that approve the changes to the Appendix A, please raise your hand. Okay, we have a clear majority, so the motion proves.
It's, yeah, Commodore, it's a 2/3 majority, but I counted 11, which is 2/3.
All right, you counted 11. I forgot it was 2/3. Okay. So we got 11. Okay, so we're still in. Let me ask one more question. How about all the nays raise your hand? Okay, I think it's unanimous then. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Old business. I don't really think we have any old business. New business? Nothing. How about any closing comments? Anyone? Rudy?
Yes, Commodore. I just want to express that the board does remain, the auxiliary as a whole does remain, flexible and optimistic in regards to our capability to retain and recruit new members by allowing them that flexibility caused by this global pandemic paradigm shift. All organizations seem to be moving in the direction of flexibility for either live or virtual. That is all.
Right. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see as we move forward how many units, divisions, flotillas continue with the virtual meetings, or at least occasionally, and how many move on to hybrid meetings. It's going to be interesting, but at least that's an option we really didn't explore in the past. Any more closing comments? Anyone? Board,
Yes.
staff? Mike Feeman?
Yeah, Commodore, just want to clarify, at the bottom of the agenda, it says our next meeting is the 12th. That's a Sunday. Is it not the 11th?
It is on the 11th. Thank you for picking that up, Mike. Our next meeting is on September 11th. We'll be in person at the Lighthouse Room down at in San Pedro.
I have a comment.
Yes.
If anybody needs any assistance on how to figure out how to combine your live meeting with your virtual meeting, it's really not that difficult. Send me an email. We'll get together. You're basically going to take your laptop to your meeting, turn it on and face it towards the audience. Turn the camera on so they can see what's going on. So, but if anybody needs any hints, help or anything, send me an email and I'll get back to you. And we'll make it happen.
But you will need Wi-Fi.
You will need Wi-Fi. If you do it at Denny's, most Denny's have free Wi-Fi. You know, a lot of these places, Wi-Fi is not, it's pretty much everywhere. So, but you will need Wi-Fi in order to do it. So.
Everywhere, but on the Coast Guard bases. Those ones are a little bit difficult. Go figure.
They are, yes, they are difficult on the bases. You'll need a hotspot that your own hotspot. Do not rely on Coast Guard internet. They have so many security features and it's like pulling teeth to even get access to it. So don't even think about asking to use theirs. Bring your own source hotspot, whatever.
Yeah, some of them have morale Wi-Fi, they call it, but definitely pre-plan for if you're having it on any Coast Guard base, just FYI.
Well, right. And the morale, all of a sudden you get the young guys on Saturday morning and they're all checking their email and surfing the web and then they kick us off because they've eaten up all the bandwidth. So don't even plan on anything at the base. We'll have to bring our own. Dirox, we still have the hotspot at the Dirox office. So we'll be able to do it at the Lighthouse through that hotspot. Members have hotspots on their phone. If you don't have one available, ask your member, can I use your hotspot in order to do this? So there's ways of doing it. Get in touch with me and I'll get back to you and we'll walk through it and make it happen.
All right. Thank you. Any more comments? Anyone? With that, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Mike Fiamingo. Motion, second by who?
Me.
Rick Ebel. Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much for your attendance and everybody have a great weekend.